Hello? Oh, sweet, it works. Hey, this is Space Burrito. What's up? This is just a message for y'all. As it turns out, making a podcast is a lot of fucking work. Not that I didn't think it was, but dang. Wow. Getting all the people who were involved in this project at Portal to approve the stories that they did and make sure that they were still happy with them, etc., was a months-long thing. Man, and I am literally filled with respect for the three of you for being able to pull this off 10 to 20 times a year. Wow. Anyways, I hope that you're well and that everything's going okay in the Bay. And yeah, here we go. Word from Portal Burn begins now.
Welcome to Accuracy Third. I'm D-Day.
I'm Rex.
And I'm Beth.
And today, we're going to a regional.
Which one?
Portal Burn.
Portal Burn.
I like the idea of Portal Burn. That's kind of every burn, right?
Yeah.
We all share that burn when the blue door closes.
With hyphens spelled like Futurama.
Portal Burn?
Porta Burn.
Portal Burn.
Porta?
The upstate New York Portal Burn.
Portal
Is that
Burn.
clear and fun enough for you?
Yes, I now understand.
Funny story.
Portal Burn.
Well, actually, it's not a funny story. This is Portal Burn. I'm kidding.
It's not a funny story. This will wreck you. Portal Burn.
Yeah, wait to be broken. The most grimdark regional in upstate New York. No, what is funny is that I get this message from Space Burrito out of the blue. Hey, past guest Space Burrito, here's looking at you. And Space Burrito's like, are you going to do anything with that audio I sent you? And I was like, well, that's a very good question.
Which audio?
What is your audio called? And he's like, it's all these stories from Portal Burn. And I was just like, yeah, I'm looking at my computer. I'm not seeing any of that in my folder of stuff I'm going to do.
Damn.
And I was like, and I'm not at home, so I can't check the server. But if you've got it, you might as well send it back through.
This would make me feel so terrible.
Oh, I was sick to my stomach for a minute.
The Space Burrito has given us so many things.
And one of the things he's given us is a fantastic series of stories, largely completely edited and ready to be inserted in this episode, for us to do a behind-the-scenes expose of Portal Burn.
Shit, am I going to have to listen to this episode?
Well, that's up to you, Beth. However much you want to engage with this project, I am happy to let you engage with it at that level.
You know, we have flirted with the title journalist for many seasons now. Is this when we finally get to put the ticker in our hat that says press?
Everyone will have to determine that for themselves. All I can say,
have a lot more faith in Space Burrito than a lot of the folks who have had the recorder over the years.
Space Burrito did an incredible job interviewing these guests, these burners, these porteliers.
What?
Porteliers.
Porteliers?
Porteliers.
What is a portelier?
Someone who goes to Portal.
Burn.
Oh, awful. Sorry. I'm sorry I made us all go through that. Go on.
Thank you to Space Burrito for collecting these stories and for editing them so well. It was a treat to listen to them and find out that you had almost completely fulfilled my needs, story and editing wise. Thank you to Space Burrito for fulfilling my needs.
And the listeners' needs too.
Honestly, all of our needs.
Here are stories from Portal Burn.
Okay, hello.
We live, we hot?
Well, we're definitely hot. I don't know if we're live. It's been extremely hot here on Hummingbird Hill. It's been 95 degrees and humid, and today it's overcast and we're recovering. Do you want to say your name?
My name is Miles.
Cool.
I started burning because my sister was connected to burners in Chicago and was just adamant, this is several years ago, adamant that I would just find this way of life so good and so good for me, and everything that I want to do that the regular world kind of doesn't allow me to do the same way and get validation for and feel justified in my esoteric passions, you know?
Yeah.
I find it here. So she was really adamant about it. So I went to my first Lakes of Fire, I think in like 2016 or 2015.
Lakes is in Michigan, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In Rothbury, Michigan. I had a campground called Lucky Lake. And the guy who owns it is super nice. It is such a well done burn.
Is that your home burn, technically?
No.
Okay.
I thought it was, but this is my home burn now.
Me too.
Yeah. I come here and I feel so at home. I see so many people I love and like, and I see so many people I don't know, but like, I can get up and perform if I was a rich man in front of an audience and know.
That was so good yesterday.
And know that it's just gonna be so positive and so warmly received. People are gonna be as enthusiastic as I want them to be, which is rare.
Yes.
You know, it really takes a lot of work a lot of the time to get people to be as enthusiastic as I am about almost anything. It's hard.
When I was trying to describe burning to like my housemates and also like my New Jersey friends, I tell them that like people are just so excited that you showed up.
Yeah, totally.
Because the alternative is nothing being there at all. And so it's like that means that every moment of presence is like infinitely valuable, which is pretty dope. What was your first portal burn like? And how has it changed since you've
My first
going?
portal bird was here at Hummingbird Hill. And
Was it somewhere else before? Like
there were other locations over time, but it was
so this is
it was here
10th year, right?
10th year.
Yeah.
So they say.
So maybe.
Yeah.
They could be lying.
They were like, maybe it's 9, depending on how you look at the calendar. I was like, I think,
What are you talking
how is there
about?
not a consensus about this? 2018, I came to Portal Burn with my sister and brother-in-law, and we had like a good time. We were just in like open camping, whatever. It was a really interesting experience because I'd been to at least 1 or 2 burns before that. But it was such an interesting bird because it was so much smaller than Lakes. Lakes is like 2,500, 2,000.
Oh, that's big.
Yeah, it doesn't feel that big. And this is like 400, 450, you know?
Yeah.
So it's a different vibe in that way.
Yeah.
But it was so fun because, like, you just got a vibe for things. Like, I've always known myself to be a performer of some kind. I really love performing. I've done karaoke a billion times, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I got invited to do the booty pageant that year. I was getting a butt massage. And
Booty pageant?
A booty pageant, yeah.
It's not a contest. It's a pageant.
Booty pageant. I'm so sorry.
Yes, it's a pageant.
This is where you, famously volunteered to smooch Miles's booty. That was how you met Miles?
Yeah, because he's the pageant winner. That's a pageant-winning booty. To smooch it.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
And
Is that you showcasing your booty for the people?
Betty Booties, big showcase for ready people.
Wow.
And so I was given a golden ticket to enter because I got a butt massage from somebody and they were like, you have an amazing ass. Would you like to be in our booty pageant? And I said, absolutely. And so I had a plan. I had a onesie on. This was the first time I ever did anything like this. All the couple of performances you've seen all started here. So I wore like a kind of a skin-tight red onesie with like a bunch of emperor penguins on it and like snow hats and things. It was really
Incredible.
cute. It had developed a huge rip in the butt.
Oh,
and then I
I mean,
realized
ideal.
before the booty pageant, I was like, oh, I'm gonna rip this more so it's like a nice even like butt look, and then I'm gonna cover it with a sarong.
Oh, and do the reveal.
And do the
shock
reveal. Yeah, and do the reveal. And so, like, I got to go on stage and we had decided I was going to do Fat Bottom Girls. I was, like, so deep in my Queen phase. And I was going to do Fat Bottom Girls, and Chris was going to help me set up and do the fucking music and whatever. And the song wasn't playing. I, like, got up on stage. I was like, hello, I think I was going Distance. I was actually going by Distance then as well.
Oh, my God.
Hey, I'm Distance. Yeah, this is the fucking booty pageant. Fucking hit it. And then so it wasn't working. The music wasn't turning on. So I'm just like, okay, let me just like dance around on stage for a couple minutes, make some jokes. It was all good. I played it over. And then I was like, nah, fuck this. We need the music. These people are gonna know Fat Bottom Girl. So I just started going, oh, you gonna take me home tonight? And then just started pumping on my hands and the whole fucking crowd started singing it. And I was like, yeah. And then I just started dancing on stage with the whole crowd singing it and stamping their feet because yeah, it was fucking ruckus, and I just fucking stripped. I was pouring booze down my butt crack for the judges. The whole thing was the judges were like, you're supposed to like be like enticing the judges, whatever. And I was like, fuck the judges. I'm gonna fucking blow this place off the. And then at a certain point, you're gonna love this. I don't want to dox this person, but at a certain point, someone we both know and love who is bodacious and awesome.
That could be any one of 500.
You'll know who it is in a moment.
Uh-oh.
I got to a point where I was like dancing, my ass is out, I'm feeling amazing, I'm singing, I'm feeling sexy as hell, and I'm like, does anyone want to kiss my ass? To the crowd. The first hand that shoots up is this mutual friend of ours, as enthusiastically as possible. Oh yes, me! and first one out the line, just like starts like ushering past people, and all of a sudden there's a line of people to kiss my ass, and I'm literally turned around, I'm squatting while people are kissing my ass, singing, yeah, with my back, cross the wire, cross the... Just,
Wow.
It was epic.
Do you have an approximation of how many ass smooches you received?
It was at least probably like 15 to 20.
That's more than my yearly quota.
Yeah, of ass kissing? Yeah, most people's. Yeah, I filled a lifetime quota that day. That was mid-performance, and they kissed my ass. And like, they stopped for like a half second. Can I give you a spank? Like, yeah. Thanks for stopping and asking. It doesn't fucking hurt. Don't do it and ask for a The people do the one of the main things, which I think is an important principle about burning in general, which I think is going to bring this back around, is like, one of the things is better to ask for forgiveness than permission. Here, that is very much so like not the case.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's reversed.
It's reversed, like very explicitly, and that's so comfortable. Everybody's so cool with that, and as a result, it creates a much better environment. And like those times when somebody does something and then asks for forgiveness are very low. Yeah. And it's so much easier to bounce back from it because you're like, okay, cool, I'm getting overwhelmingly positive experiences.
And it's easy to make those into teachable moments because it's like if you've never come to an event like this, you either are aggressively greeted at the door with that information, or people are like, this is how it works. Yeah. You know, it's very accultured instantly, which is really nice.
Totally.
So in my experience, Portal, I mean, I've only been here twice, but last year, to me, it seemed much sparser. It seemed like it was less dense people-wise and much less dense art-wise. Okay. I feel like there's twice as much art here. Is there an art piece that really stood out to you? Either you loved it or you hated it? Did it make you feel something that you've seen at this event that you remember?
Yeah, it's kind of funny because it's technically art, not a theme camp.
Okay.
So I feel it appropriate to add to this. Okay. But I had a person who I think we both know as well. They were my facilities manager, quote unquote, when I set up a massage and spank tent. Yeah. At Burning Leaves. The Burning Leaves we met at, I believe. Yeah. So I had one of my friends that we both know as my facilities manager, and they were like helping me do lights and whatever, but they were so mediocre about it. It was done with such incredibly intentional mediocrity that like it was like, all right, you got yourself a B because it worked, but you cut lazy ass corners here, and like that was the joke, a B plus facilities manager, whatever. And then he'd come back and like he'd get this. Oh, I got this. Was this good for you?
It was a bit.
Yeah. Oh, so it continued because now this person has gone from just like kind of tongue in cheek like orgy dome type like, oh, it's a cuddle space for good vibes.
Oh yes.
You know, and now it's explicitly an art piece called Utopia, and it is overtly like play place.
Yeah, and it's like really nicely set up with beautiful rules at the door. Yeah,
and I'm so proud of them because they've gone from a fucking mediocre facilities manager to literally running their own thing, investing their own money, time, a vision executed.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm looking at it right now. Gorgeous bell tent.
Gorgeous. So that's honestly, it's kind of, we have an adversarial relationship, me and this person, as I have with a couple of my friends.
Oh my God.
But
I mean, what's better than friends if not enemies? You know what I mean? Do you mind if I tell the story of how we re-met?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want to tell it right now and just have it?
Yeah, I could. Well, we are here.
Yeah.
The first regional burn that I went to was an absolutely microscopic event that maybe had like 150 people at it, deep in the woods of some state, called Burning Leaves.
Central PA.
Central PA.
Not too far from York.
All of PA is central.
That is not true.
I live in Philly.
Philly is very objectively not central.
It's
what an elitist, urban elitist over here. I bet you spend a lot of time in Brooklyn.
Shut up. Anyway,
I do. I live there.
Yeah, you live there in your grandma house. So
yeah, I miss it so much.
It misses you. So I went to Burning Leaves and I went almost alone. I knew a tiny group of people who had been to a music festival that I helped to run, and they turned out to be burners, and I was like, oh, I went to Burning Man once, and they were like, why don't you go to this thing? And I was like, thing? So I went, and I was serving drinks dressed as maybe the King of England or something, and I had like a pirate bar, and it was Yoo-hoo martinis, like Yoo-hoo, A Pirate's Life for me, and up comes this person with a bell around their waist, going
Like a
clang, clang.
handheld.
Yeah, like a handheld bell tied around the back of their belt like a cow tail. And
True. Good detail.
yeah, and this person is Miles, but I don't know that yet. This person comes up and introduces themselves to me as Distance, and they're like, can I try your drink? And I was like, And I'm looking out to the field, and I'm watching people that I've already served stumbling because it is so strong. It's got 3 shots of vodka in every cup, and a full yoo-hoo, and some other gross shit. And I'm like, and I look down, and they have a radio on their waist, and I'm like, are you rangering? And they're like, yeah, just a sip.
No!
I'm like, okay, fine. And so they try it, and they're like, oh my God. And then they leave. And I'm like, that person was objectively very handsome. All right, whatever. An hour goes by, and they come by again, and they're like, hey, you need any rangering? And I'm like, nope. They leave. And at this point, I'm extremely drunk because I was like, oh, I'll test my whole drink. And then I was like, maybe I should test another one.
I didn't remember you being, like, particularly drunk. I thought we had a nice...
That's good. And I also took mushrooms, so it was like it was a journey. And this repeated itself over, like, 4 hours where you would just come by and say, you need any rangering? And I was like, oh, I have a friend. I made a friend. Finally, I am, like, absolutely toasted, and I'm like, I can't do this anymore. And so I take off the king's crown, and I put it on the table, and I went over our little sound system that was nearby, and I was like, you can make your own drinks, losers. And then I sat at a picnic bench nearby to watch the chaos, and I rolled myself a smoke. And over comes Distance, as I knew him at that time, and he's like, sits down and is like, hey, can I have a hit of that? And I was like, aren't you on ranger shift? He's like, yeah, just like one hit. And I'm like, okay. And then immediately you turn to me and you go, do you think that empathy can be taught? Oh my God, what's going on?
I had been having this conversation a bunch with this really sweet lady across the way from me. I forgot what her name was, but she was like trying to instill that in some curriculum she was working on or some group she was working with, I forgot. And we were talking about empathy because I talked about my role as a communication coach and that kind of thing, and then she was talking about empathy.
Yeah.
It was really, really interesting. So then I figured someone of your, what I thought to be handsome, put-together stature, here you were, just handsome and drunk.
Well, put together is subjective.
Yes, it is.
But it turned out to be a really wonderful conversation, and I was like, wow, not only friendship, but philosophy as well. That's really cool.
Yeah.
And then you started to walk away, and you turned around and you were like, are you coming? And I was like, coming where? And you were like, on my ranger shift with me. And I was like, okay. We walked around for like 4 or 5 hours. Like a long time. That was probably at 11 p.m., and now it's like 3 or 4 a.m. So over the course of this, it's great. I got to meet your sister. I got to meet a bunch of your friends, and like, it was such a small burn. We literally said hi to everyone, which was extremely useful to me as a weird introvert, extrovert mess. But I kept having this really, really weird feeling about you. I was like, I don't know what's going on. Like, something's very handsome, but I don't think that's it. I don't think I'm being hit on. I was like, I don't know what's going on. Like, why there's something about this person that's freaking me out. And I think it started with me realizing that you walk into a room with the same kind of confidence that I walk into a room with, where I mean, mine is out of anxiety, where I'm like, I need to walk in, and especially to like a camp of burners, and just like be like, we're already friends, and that's how I'm going to approach all these conversations. But I had really never met anyone with quite the same like psychosis as I have, which is a really wonderful thing to run into. But that wasn't it either. Is it what I've taken this evening? And I was like, I don't think so. And it was like actually making me feel psychologically ungrounded. I was like, why is this person, there's something about them that I'm not getting. And we were at your camp in like a heinous hour, like 4 a.m. And I'm doing the whole, I don't know your sister well, so I'm gonna ask her why she's a burner, and like maybe we'll get to know each other that way. And for some reason, she said your real name. She said Miles. And I was like, Miles? And then somebody said your last name, and I was like, wait a minute. Are you and I was like, Miles, and then your last name. I know you. I know you already. I know you. And it turns out we went to college together. And we had known each other the whole time, barely. And then you started naming off all the people that I lived with, that I was in Greek life with. Boo, Greek life. That I...
no kidding.
It's fine. That you know, that like were my closest friends, and like somehow we had only met like once or twice in a single semester, and then you disappeared, and I was like, what the fuck? And it was, I've told you this before, but like it was one of the most razor sharp, insane moments of my entire life, because I had made a really lovely connection with you, and realized I had known you for almost 9 years.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah, that's
crazy.
true.
I still tell people about that.
No, we would have met in like 2014, 2015, because I
Okay,
did
like
it at
7 years. 7 years.
7. Yeah, because I did it for my last semester of college. I went to the
Right.
other campus.
But I don't know. That was just unbelievable to me.
Yeah.
And that is like, it's a memory I really cherish.
Oh gosh, me too now,
Oh,
and I have the
Miles.
details from your eyes.
Oh, jeez.
buddy.
Aww. Yeah,
It's a good story.
it is a good
You
story.
should tell it at parties.
I do. Okay, we're wrapping up.
I tried to organize a hide-and-seek tournament, but I had no choice but to give up. Good players are hard to find.
That's pretty good, actually.
My name is Rose. Cool. And I wanted to talk about my very first experience at Portal Burn. I went to G Lodge in 2019.
What's G Lodge?
That's out near Watertown.
Oh, okay.
Close to Watertown. It's in the woods, no hill, no swimming.
Oh, it was the other location.
Yeah, the other
Okay.
location.
Oh, P.S. Audience info. Portal Burn has a pond, and you can swim in it, and it is absolutely vital because otherwise we would all melt.
Yes, yes. And I got there, and one of the first things I ended up finding was a guy named Michael from Boston, and he introduced me to a unicorn tip of liquid acid. It was my very first experience.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Yes, and it was the beginning of my very first burn to have it be perfect. I guess it set it up perfectly.
Yeah.
And so I ended up meeting so many great people. I wasn't part of a theme camp or anything. It was just open camping, and I don't know. I remember there being like in Camp Sexy, there was all of these like Sexy or Die. We brought that back, and all these game shows. Like I didn't participate in any of them my first year because I was like really shy and really scared. And your first burn, in my experience, for anyone who, no matter who you are, it's gonna be rough. Like especially if you have no experience at all. And my first one was rough, but it was still perfect in all of its flaws.
Yeah.
I've only been to Portal Burn, and I've been to 3 Portal Burns, 2019, 2022, and 2023.
Is there like a preference that you have for the location or like something that stands out to you about what was special about each one or something?
Personally, I really loved this location a lot better than the woods. The woods was very hot and humid and sticky, and there was so many bugs and muddy.
Sticky.
Yeah, and there's poison ivy everywhere, and it was really hard to control your moop there. It was really hard because it would just blow into the tree line, and then you wouldn't see it again.
Right.
In that aspect, I didn't really like G Lodge. So Hummingbird Hill, way better, although Hummingbird Hill is very hot and we're out in the sun.
Yeah. But there's a pond. So.
Yo, there is, and the pond is
Are you not a grinder?
so good. It's crystal blue, cool, refreshing. You just dump in, bring down your body temperature, and run right back out to the pool.
It's a very weird shade of blue.
So
do you know the lore about why it's
supposed to be a
blue?
light fixture.
I don't, actually.
I don't either. I was hoping you would.
I know why it's blue.
Why is it blue?
It's a pond dye. It's like dye that they put in there to kill the algae. This location, Hummingbird Hill, also does like wedding venues and other events and all that stuff.
Okay, yeah.
So they like, in the pond, they always let people swim in there, and you want to keep it pretty. But they got fish and turtles in there. Like,
Yeah.
I've seen them. They've touched me, and it was weird. They'd like to nibble my dogs.
Ponder found an entire umbrella.
Yes, Ponder and his little feet toes like to go digging in the dirt. His tingers will
His
find
tingers?
Yes.
His dogs?
Yeah, his dogs. He would go digging for buried treasure in the pond. So just so everyone knows, there is Spanish gold hidden in the pond.
God. I've never found it, which means obviously it doesn't exist.
No, you know it's there. You're just not looking hard enough. You got to look harder with your heart and mind.
I need to look smarter, not harder.
There you go. And some parts of the pond are pretty deep. Like
They are. So audience information, some of our, I want to say they're all on the board of directors. They built a 100-foot slip and slide down the hill with a 4-foot launch pad at the bottom. It's terrifying to watch people go down, and they don't die when they enter the pond. So it must be
but our friend did get a little fucked up. He went down face first, then flipped onto his back and hit his own.
Fuck.
Yeah. So you do want to be careful. It is a little harsh in there. I haven't gone down it personally.
Ticket waiver.
In his defense, he was doing stupid stuff. He went down belly first the first time, and he did a front flip when he came out. So then when he came back up, he decided he wanted to do a back flip. So he went down belly first again, and then halfway through decided to turn on his back, and that's when he bonked his elbow. So it was dumb shit that got him hurt. But he also flopped like a dolphin, so it was worth it.
Did he break anything?
No, he's just scratched up. He's fine. I kissed his boo-boos. He's okay. They're all kissed.
Aw, medically viable cures. Wow, that's great. I love that.
Just a heads up, Kai pulled 30 ticks off of one person.
What?
So
Where were they?
Shit. Up the hill a little bit, so just keep tick checking.
What the fork?
30?
Also, we have ticks.
Yeah.
Run away
So, at Transformers one year,
audience info. Where's Transformers? What is it?
So Transformers is a regional burn, and it used to be in Asheville, North Carolina. That was the time that I was actually there, when this story happened.
Okay.
So the one evening, I decided I wanted to eat some acid, have a good time, going on a little adventure through like the magical land of Mysteria.
Yeah.
And I kind of just went off wandering. I had no real clear goal. I was just kind of going off of like what felt right with like my internal compass. We'll just call it that.
Yeah.
Kind of like Donnie Darko thing where you see the little like portal guiding their path.
Yeah.
So it's just like I'll just follow the pull. And I wandered to the one pond which had a dock. And I had a hula hoop with me, and I just kind of like sat down because I was intrigued by what they were doing. And they had a kayak that was attached to like a winch and a cable. And had a cable on both sides of the pond, and they were actually securing it in the middle of the pond.
Oh.
And the one guy, he had boxing gloves and like bunny ears, and he was like, "Hey, we're getting ready to do a burn. You can hang out here if you want, but I was just wondering if I could use your hula hoop when we actually light the effigy." I was like, "Oh yeah, of course."
Like a fire hoop?
It was just a regular hoop, just like a taped hula hoop.
Oh, right.
So of course I said yeah, and I was like super excited to just kind of wander into the front row seat of this burn.
Yeah.
And it was a kayak with a effigy of a man holding a paddle above its head.
Yeah.
And there was a lower dock which I was on, and then there was an upper dock which was more of like a big pavilion.
Yeah, okay.
So they had a bunch of drummers in this pavilion, and they had this big sculpture on the actual dock I was sitting on of a tree. It was like a copper tree that was hooked up to a propane tank. And then on the side of that, they had a compression chamber hooked up to a poofer. All the propane would gather in this big chamber, and it would be like this reserve, so that way when the actual poofer went off, it would just make a huge fireball.
Whoa.
So I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden, all these people in white robes start walking up with torches all around this lake. And people start gathering, and all the people who have torches, they all go up to this pavilion, which is overlooking the effigy. They all basically wait for this guy with flaming bagpipes to start playing Danny Boy, which he does. And then at the end of it, and while they're playing Danny Boy, they light this tree, and all these little holes have essentially these little pilot light kind of flames coming out of them that look like leaves. So this tree lights up. This guy's playing Danny Boy with flaming bagpipes, and then they start doing a 21 poof salute with this giant poofer. Oh my God. And I mean, it's huge fireballs, lighting up the entire place, and it's still daytime when this is happening. It's dusk.
Whoa.
And then as he finishes, they all shoot flaming arrows at this effigy, a hail of flaming arrows into this lake, and then they light it that way, and the thing goes off, it burns, and then it sinks. And I just wandered into that. And meanwhile, that was my come up for that trip.
When did you find out that this was a memorial type thing?
When they started playing Danny Boy.
Whoa.
And they started doing the salutes. Because
that's really beautiful
typically,
and really intense.
Yeah, and it was a beautiful beginning to that trip. I had a great night full of a ton of different synchronicities after that. But yeah, I felt really honored to have just kind of wandered into that, and glad that they let me stay there because it's a great memory.
Oh my God. What did they use your hula hoop for?
So the one guy was friends with the person who I guess had passed away, and he wanted to hula hoop while that burn was happening because his thing is, I guess he just goes places and he like shadow boxes while like hula hooping.
Huh.
And yeah, I helped him fulfill that, I guess. So I was just glad to be a part of it.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Did you guys hear about the invisible man who married an invisible woman?
I didn't see it.
Yeah, their kids were nothing to look at either.
Here I am at Camp
Jellyfish.
And you are?
Jamilah.
Wonderful. Hey, what's up? How you doing? How's your day?
My day has been fantastic. It's this is my second portal, and ended up at Portal because from doing the other regional burns in the Mid-Atlantic area, PDF and Constellation would run into some awesome burners from New York, and invariably the conversation would come, how long did it take you to get here? And they'd say, these 6-7 hours, like, oh my gosh. But then met one of the board members for Portal, and she's like, you totally should come up here. It's awesome. There's this pond, and it's just great. And
they're right. It is awesome.
They are right. It is awesome.
There is a pond.
Yeah. And I said to myself, they make that trek down to us, and wanted to try a different burn anyway. So last year we decided, hey, we're going up to Portal to try this out and to be here. And one of the things that I love about it is it's got a lot of my favorite burners and people I know from the ones down in my area, but then it's got a different crowd that doesn't always make that journey down. So
I feel like, this is the people that I always see, and then PDF was like all the outliers.
So
that I never
it's
get
the opposite for you. It's the opposite experience for you.
So that means that our Portal burn was the first time for both of us.
Yes.
What were your first impressions
of Portal?
Yeah.
My impression is that it's a more mature vibe. And that's what I like about it. That it's not necessarily that the crowd is, I don't know, more mature. There are a lot of kids here, a lot of kids, but it's just a more laid back, chill, relaxed, mature vibe. People party, but it's not this crazy party that sometimes I see at PDF or other where people are raving and going off, which can happen at a burn, but it seems to be zero or very little of that here. So,
I kind of got that feeling too. When I came here, this was my introduction to all of these people. I feel like you and your camp and like Miles and like maybe like 2 other people, that's everyone that I knew here. So it felt like stepping into somebody else's high school reunion, and it was very strange. I don't feel that way now at all. I feel like I know everyone, which is awesome. But it was weird at first, and I was like, I have to walk up a hill.
Yes, the hill.
Up and down and up and down and up and down a hill.
But I haven't been up yet to see your art, but we randomly decided to do that last year, to walk up to the trail up there, and it was the most amazing because the view is incredible, and I think most people here don't make that trek up, but it's totally worth it.
It's like kind of nasty. It's so steep and so short.
Yes, it's a little treacherous, but
today it's going to be very muddy after the rain, but I'm charging my battery down at DPW because I was like, there's no sun. I don't have, my solar panel is not waterproof. I'm fucked. So I don't know. I might just leave it off because if it's too muddy, I don't want people to go and be tempted to go up there and then hurt themselves. Yeah, that's not my fault if they want to do that.
No, but it would be a little rough for some people.
For information, I mentioned in another interview, I don't know if these will be in order, but I'm an installation artist. I've been bringing big-ish art to regional burns for a couple years, and this year for Playa del Fuego, I art granted a big sound reactive 3-panel piece, and Portal let me put it way up on a hill in the woods, which is extremely not handicap accessible and also treacherous for those with perfect physical ability too. If you want the art, you have to suffer for it. So if you want to see it, maybe like tomorrow night.
Okay,
If you, for some reason, you'd get the urge, just walk in the middle. If you walk on the side, even though it's green, it is muddy.
No, I think last year we took a path that led from there. Is that where you're talking?
No,
we took the path, and then we walked up here, but then we ended up coming back down this way.
If you go up the hill and then go this way, it's easier, and then just like a little bit of difficulty.
Right.
This way, it's difficult the whole way.
The path where there's some chairs and stuff. That one. Right?
Yeah, the chairs have been destroyed by something. There's a picnic table and an umbrella, and there was a hammock up there that was like ripped through, and I was like, I'm putting my art there, so I just took it down and moved it.
Okay.
It had been there since last year, and I was like, why is this weird? And I mentioned that to a couple people at this burn, and they're like, oh, my friend got fucked in that hammock. And I was like, when it was intact, right? They were like, oh yeah, that was like 4 years ago. I was like, what?
Okay.
So
okay.
I think I may have destroyed an institution, which is sad, but also it was trash. So yeah. I don't know.
Okay, so yeah, well, yes, that's the way we came down. So we just went the long way when we went.
So in comparison to a burn that is totally flat, it's nice that you can walk somewhere outside of the playa space and like be alone if you want to. And that's, have you been out to the Big Burn?
I have not.
You can go out into the desert and be alone, but you can't be like, you can always see the city, and you can always hear the city. And I think something about regional burns that is very attractive to me is that it is in a more diverse space. It's not as like mind-bogglingly weird. Trees aren't scary, but you can like physically really remove yourself if you need to leave, but not leave.
Yes, because this can be sensory overload.
It can. Yeah. So at we met at Burning Leaves, right? Small
Yes,
burn,
we met at Burning Leaves.
And there was that trail that went behind. I never got to walk on it, but people kept telling me about it, and I was like, they let me mount my art in a backfield. There's just like a more diversity of spaces that I really appreciate. And it's nice that every single one is different and has its own personality.
Yes.
I don't know if you've noticed that. Do you know how many regional burns you've been to?
I keep count, and if this isn't it, I know this year I will hit 30. So this is either 29 or 30 for me.
Congratulations. Yes. That's awesome.
Yes, yeah. I keep notes on each one just because it's...
they're, I mean, not like it's always work, but like because they're like easier to get to, it's... I'm going to 4 burns this year and another art adjacent event, and like that's ridiculous. And the Big Burn.
Yeah, for me, it's like when people say, "Have you been to the Big Burn?" Like, no. One, it's a lot of money and a time commitment, and for the money and the time commitment and everything else, I can spread that out over a whole year.
Yeah.
And
be seeing your community more.
Seeing my community more often, and I'm really about intimate connections with people, and I know everyone's experience is unique, so I could go out to the Big Burn and find that. However, from all of what I've been told from other people, that it's less likely to happen. So for me to make that trek, spend the investment, time away from home and everything else, when...
It felt like to me, I met a lot of people only once, which can be wonderful and very lonely.
That's what it sounds like. That's what it sounds like. So I'd love to experience it at some point, at least once, but it's not...
It's probably not going anywhere.
No.
I don't know, but...
Yeah.
Do you have any really cathartic or like moments of like really profound connection or experiences that you've had through the regional burn community? Any that stick out to you that you'd like to share?
Really, my most profound connection is with my campmates, because we, aside from my best friend Nina, everyone else in our camp came together organically from other connections and didn't know each other initially. So I went to my first regional, I think it was 2008, to Playa del Fuego, and ended up there completely random by happenstance. So I was at home watching the news, and this news story came on about Burning Man. And it was a year that there was a huge sandstorm, big surprise out there, and a complete whiteout.
Yeah.
And so I was like, this seems really interesting and intriguing. And as we do, I get on the internet and I Googled, and I was like, wow, it sounds like something I'd like to experience. Somewhere in my research and reading, I come across there's this thing called regionals. And so I said, okay, well, that probably is a way to dip my, big toe in the water.
Yeah.
So, of course, the big burns, end of August. And so it said my closest regional was going to be in approximately 6 weeks, and that was Playa del Fuego.
Whoa.
So I said, well, I'm going to try to go. And it was at a point in my life where I was really struggling with my own identity, trying to figure out who I was and what my place was in this world, really, essentially. I know that sounds like existential, but it really was the case. And then I also just didn't know where I belonged, and so I
empathize with that.
I was trying to search for that answer, which I don't think any of us ever really find, but we're lucky if we get close. So I asked a friend to go with me to this thing, because I didn't want to go by myself, and it was somebody who was an extreme extrovert, which matched my introvert tendencies. And so at the time, I can't remember his name, but the Burning Man regional, I contacted him, and
like the coordinator?
Yeah, well, the Burning Man, I think, Nexus, who's our current, well, you might not know, he's the current DC Burning Man regional, so it was his equivalent at the time. And their job is to sort of teach people about Burning Man and answer any questions you might have.
That's cool.
Yes.
I didn't know that. That's awesome.
They're official. They work closely with Burning Man org, and so they have an official job that they do, regional contacts. So I reached out to him because I'm an information junkie. Give me all of the details so that I can plan. He gave me a copy of his packing list. I think 2 different versions of it. Told me everything that I needed to know, and so I felt prepared with all my information. I go out, I go out and I get all the gear that I think I'm going to need and everything else, and I tell my friend, like, I've got all the lowdown. All I need is for you to show up. So I think it was 3 days before we were supposed to leave, she bailed on me. And she wasn't going to go. And again, it may not seem like it, but I am very introverted. And so I said, oh my gosh, going to this foreign thing somewhere that I don't know anyone, don't know anything about the culture or anything else, like, can I do that by myself? But at this point, I felt I'd already prepared and I committed, and again, trying to find myself. So to do that, we have to step outside of our comfort zone, right? So I said, I'm going to go anyway. So I go, and I spent a lot of time in my little, I think at the time I probably had a 3-person tent, which is a big departure from where I've evolved now with my camper. But I remember I had my cooler and a bag of clothes like in the tent with me, and I slept in a little sleeping bag, and it was cozy and it was perfect. And I spent a lot of time just observing. And I know when I first got there, Camp Contact was setting up their setup, and they had the huge geodesic dome, and they were just yelling out, hey, we need people to help us set up the dome. And so I just went over, and so they were just, pulling people in, and I was like, wow, this is just, anybody can help, anybody can participate, and it was a great experience. I was still not sure if that was for me, but I went back the next year. So for a long time, I was just a fall burner. So I went back the next year, brought a few people with me, and they had a great time. And so then the next year I came back, and they came and they brought a couple of other people with them. So it just kind of evolved to this thing where it's like I knew somebody and they knew somebody, and hey, try this. And some people who came are still burners to this day, and some tried it once, maybe twice, and then they no longer come. It wasn't for them. Slowly, it wasn't an immediate thing for me, but slowly over time, it started building this sense of community, this sense of belonging, the sense of like, this is where I feel like my most authentic self is within this community. And so I told Nina about it for years, and she was convinced from my stories that it sounded like an orgy in the woods and this wild and crazy time. And so she was like, nah, not for me. Yeah. And so then one year, she was going through personal life things, not necessarily a crisis, but a struggle within herself as well with identity. And I said, you've got to come with me. This is what you need right now. That was 2015, and she came and immediately hooked. She was like, this is not only where you're right, this is what I needed, this is where I belong. So she found that same sense of identity that I was searching for. It was interesting, my ex-partner, person I was dating at the time, he brought a friend of his at the same time, and that's my friend Delight. And so her and Nina were virgins the same year, 2015 at Playa del Fuego. And so at this point, so I'd gone first time in 2008, so I've been doing that for 7 years. So you got to do the veteran burner thing. Show your virgins a good time and show them how it's supposed to be done. And I had this email I used to send to people that I'd bring for the first time that, again, information junkie outlined, this is like your, everything you need to know to prepare for this event and, everything in a synopsis. And so they came, and I remember that was probably the burn I got the most wrecked because I was determined to go hard, show them everything. I ended up naked, saran wrapped to a stripper pole at Whiskey and Whores for 2 hours. Because, I'm showing them, hey, we're doing all the drinks, we're doing all the dancing, we're doing all the partying. This is what we do. And so for their virgin burn, I was like, they had an epic time. And again, so Danielle was a friend of my ex-partner, and she kind of came in. Another person that I had brought who was an acquaintance of someone else. She worked at a local restaurant in the D.C. area. She invited some people she worked with, which was my other campmate, Johnny. Oh, yeah. He came, and so met him through that. And then over time, we just formed our own sort of camp, which used to be affiliated with someone else, but now it's just us. And it's random because we live in different states, Virginia and Pennsylvania and West Virginia, but we come here and we're family. So yeah.
I always see you guys.
Yes.
And it's
yes.
I always know that I'll see all of you together, and then you'll show up together, and then I can go and hug all of you, which is deeply satisfying. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
I am kind of beginning to experience that here. I feel like I went out to the Big Burn with only one other person because the person I was supposed to go with bailed, and then her friend was like, "Well, I'll go instead," and I was like, "I don't know you." And it ended up being great, and I met a bunch of great people, but we've never burned together again. We just visit each other, and that's it. But after I met Yes Chef at Burning Leaves, she lives on the way up to my parents' house in Vermont, and so I could just like go by and talk shit about burning stuff. And then we camped together here last year, and we've just been camping together ever since. And it's like we get along like a house on fire. It's bad in a very, very good way.
That's how it is when people like out in the default world. We look mismatched, to a certain extent.
Yeah.
But here it just fits so naturally.
Yeah. I feel extremely lucky to have found a community of people who like just genuinely care so much about. I don't know. I was saying to somebody earlier that like you can bring anything and it's instantly priceless because it's otherwise there would be nothing. Exactly. And so it's like especially your presence.
Not only that, you could I think almost literally leave $100 bill lying on the ground that has no value. Nobody would touch it.
Nobody
it has
would
no
care.
value
to
anyone here. Yeah.
And it's
or they go out of their way like, who does this belong to? Let me
begging like please take this. I don't want to touch it.
I'm going to take it to Lost and Found. I won't take this $100 with me home.
That's exactly right.
Yes. But I have to tell you this. So this, for whatever reason, the last couple of years, coming out of COVID, personal challenges, things, a breakup with my ex-fiance, we broke off our engagement. Some things happened at work, so default stuff hard. I'm a mom of 2 young kids. My kids are elementary school age. And so this year, every burn, I just didn't feel like something was missing for me a little bit. So this is, I think, Portal is my 4th burn of the year, but I was looking forward to coming. But I had a hard time with motivation.
Me too.
I couldn't really get prepared. Literally, I wasn't packing anything until the night before because I got all this other stuff going, all this other stuff. I want to go, but I can't get the enthusiasm built up for it that I used to have. So it wasn't until I was fully packed up and actually on the road and leaving, and I was thinking to myself, what is my motivation now? What is driving me? And I said, literally, it's my burner family. It's these people that I'm going to get to see. And I kid you not, the first person that came to mind was you. I was like,
really?
And I know that sounds odd, but it was. It was like, because I know you had posted about your art and the other things, and then you have this beautiful smile, beautiful presence.
Thank
and
you.
I said, that's what makes it for me. I said, the moment I get there, I'm going to see all these people who, even though we don't necessarily know each other on a deep level, don't see each other often, they're going to be happy to see me. They're going to be glad that I'm there in that space. And I feel the same way about them. And that's what is going to fill my heart up and that missing piece from me. And
made me cry.
But you were the first person I thought of. I said, as soon as I see Eli and his smile and I get that hug, I said, I know that's what I needed. That's what I needed. So
that's very sweet of you to say. Thank you.
No.
This is the perfect size for a burn. It is perfect. Besides the whole breaking my back walking up and down this hill. Fuck the hill.
Yes, fuck the hill.
Fuck the hill, but also we can't ever leave. There's like a need for every individual person, and because they all come back and they all know each other, with like just like 10 new people every time I come, it's like if one person doesn't show up, it actually feels like there's like a hole in the event. So it's vital that everybody returns, and it's nice.
It is. Nina had to take a break. She didn't go to PDF with us.
I remember that, and I was like, it feels weird that Nina is not
all
here.
burn long. People can ask me, "Where's Nina? Is she okay?"
Yeah,
yes, and it's exactly what you just said. It feels like there's something missing. Within that, those are people where their presence, when it's not there, you notice and you miss it. So
yeah. The reason why I could not find motivation to come to Portal Burn was because this is my 3rd event mounting art and my 4th event since Memorial Day. It is the last weekend in July. It has been 2 months, and I've gone to 4 events, and I have barely had time to even work to have money to go to the events. So I was awarded an art grant at PDF, and I spent 2 months making and programming that piece and stressing over it. And then we were like, what do we do? It won't fit in the car. And then I got to PDF, and my van exploded.
Yes.
The inside of the van exploded, and then DPW picked me up in a pickup truck and got me to the event. The community paid for my van to be fixed. Insane.
I remember you asked me, do you think it'd be okay if I put out a GoFundMe? And I was like, yes. We support you. We support what you stand for, your art, and we want to help make that happen. So
I received more good advice on how to get community engagement that weekend than I ever have in my life. If you need advice on who to ask for help, ask burners.
Yes.
Not only will that help you, they'll also point to the other burners and be like, them too.
Absolutely.
Bother them too. 2 weeks after that, I flew to California for an art adjacent event, and I worked that. Then 2 weeks after that, I got back and I had to finish the giant sound reactive LED kaleidoscope, which for some reason I decided I wanted to build for a music festival. And then, well, I didn't spend all this time making this stupid art for nothing. Bleep bloop, email portal burn, can I do it? And they were like, we won't help, but of course you can.
Yes, that's it.
I don't know, and I've been packing for the big burn because New York runs a community shipping container, so to get there, clearly the van won't make it. It's barely being held together, so it's like I have to ship all my stuff. I'm packing for that. I built a bike. I'm repairing the art because a bunch of little kids broke it at the last event. I don't want to go. I just don't want to go. But I had 2, they were PDF versions, and now they're not virgins. There's not an equivalent word for, there's virginity and then there's the rest of your life.
Right.
We need a second word. But they're that, and they're my housemates. And so they were like, come on, Eli, come on. And I'm here. But it is really difficult, and I just threw myself in so hard, and I'm realizing that I'm beginning to need new purpose to come to these events, which is why I've started working them. Or planning specific projects like this where I want to come around and talk to people that I like a lot, or people that I don't know.
I can identify with that. For me, I was thinking of that as you were speaking. It's a metamorphosis of yourself as a burner. So when I first started coming, it was, again, taking in the community, finding, getting acclimated and feeling comfortable. And then after I did that for a few years, I said, well, I want to give something back. Don't consider myself an artist in any way, shape, or form, although people are going to say, hey, art's what you make of it, right?
Exactly.
But for a number of years, I always said to myself, wow, it'd be really cool to build an effigy. And so I had these ideas floating around in my head and everything. And one year, I said to my partner at the time, I said, I have this idea, and I said, I really think we can do it. And he looked at me and he said, we can do it. So we put in the application to be the effigy builders that year. And to me, that was crazy because this was a community I think we built the effigy in 2016. Yes, 2016.
For this event?
For Playa del Fuego.
Oh,
yes.
okay.
So we built the effigy in 2016.
Whoa.
So at that point, I'd been doing that for 8 years, but it was this thing where I said, I want to give back. This is my next sort of iteration of Jamilah as a burner.
Yeah.
And immediacy, right? I wanted to do this thing. I wasn't sure, but I said, I'm going to try. And I knew that the community would be supportive. And it's so funny, when I put in the application, I wasn't sure that we were going to get it. And the effigy coordinator at the time, she said, honestly, you would have gotten it anyway. You were the only one that applied. We absolutely desperately needed an effigy builder, but you would have gotten it anyway because we really liked your idea.
What was it? Can I ask?
It was a Lego pony. So we built a Lego pony. It was a pony made of Lego bricks. So I modeled it with actual Legos, and then I put all the design together exactly how I need. So our biggest ones, our big bricks, were 8 feet long. I'm sorry, they were 4 feet long. Our biggest bricks were 4 feet, and they were all 1 foot wide. So we had some that were 2 by 1, some by 2 by 2, 4 by 1, so that looked like Legos.
That is so smart because Legos are already in scale.
Yes, exactly. So that's what I just had to figure out the math to make it work, and didn't necessarily have all of the supplies that we needed. So we ended up going out and trying different hole saws, finding just the right size that would work for the thing.
I assume, did you have to smaller circle than hole?
So we found a hole saw that was just the perfect size that we needed for that. We needed to sand all the pieces down. We didn't have a sander. We bought one like off of Craigslist. And so at the time I lived in a 2-bedroom apartment, a patio garden style apartment, right?
Oh my
God. We were assembling these on the patio at my apartment. We're like, I'm cutting wood there. We're sanding them on the patio. My neighbors thought I was crazy. After we had assembled a certain number of them, I'd take them over to a friend's house that actually had some property and store them there. But then they were stacked up in my living room in this garden apartment as we started building them. It was just crazy. But we had such a fun time with it. I still have people come up and say, hey, that was our favorite effigy ever, because we made it so that it was interactive so that people could play with it until Saturday night came, and then Saturday afternoon we actually built it up as the pony. But until then, it was just these huge wooden Lego bricks that people could play with.
That's
so good. That people could play with them until we actually built the pony out of it. So it was one of those things that's like, I never thought I could have done something like that.
That's brilliant.
But this community made me feel confident that no matter how it turned out, that they would love it, and
oh my God.
And it did. It gave me the confidence that I needed to do something like that, and so it was an amazing experience for me. But that's how we sort of evolve, and that's why we keep doing the art and the things and everything else. And every time we have this wild and crazy idea and say, "Can I do it?" Like, yeah, why not?
That's exactly
why not? Why not?
And people are like, okay, again, human hamster wheel that powers a blender, and I don't even know if they give you the ingredients.
Right.
Like, why not?
Why not?
That looks dangerous as shit.
Why not? It does. We were sitting around. What bird? I can't remember which burn we were at, but Nina has this thing about feeding people, and it's like, I don't know if it's a full-blown kink, but she gets really into it and then
is she okay with you mentioning it?
She is. She's okay with me mentioning her name. Yes. So we're saying how, man, this is your thing. We really should build a thing with. So anyway, it all morphed into this idea about this food porn glory hole, which I'm going to put up tomorrow. I didn't put it up yet.
Wait a minute. That's your event?
That's our thing.
Oh.
Yes. So the idea came up because Nina loved this thing about feeding people, but making them also giving them instruction, being a bit of a dom about it. Like, no, you're not going to take this bite until I tell you can take this bite. So
that's hot.
So again, it's another one of these things where I'm building a glory hole in my living room at my house while my kids are playing around. Again, at this time, it's like my 7-year-old and my 10-year-old. And I'm like, Mommy, what are you building? Mommy, why'd you put a hole in the middle of that?
Oh my God. It's like, it's a birdhouse.
Right.
It's just really big, and there are no walls.
And I try not to, of course, I didn't use the exact terminology, but I said, Mommy and her friends were going to feed people through this hole. And like, why? Why not?
Oh, God.
But that's what we do. We come up with these crazy ideas, and again, I think it's the same with your art, with the art concept. That I don't know if this makes sense to anyone else. It makes sense to me. I don't know if anyone else is going to enjoy it, but I think so, because if I think it's kind of fun, cool, crazy, whatever, then somebody else will enjoy it. And that's been part of the gift this community has given to me, is that, like, hey, you really can do anything.
Yeah. So. Oh man. Do you remember did you stick your head in my box last year?
Yes. The box over there where you had to get down low to get your head up in the box.
I think there's like a recurring theme of suffering with my art.
Yes.
God, what's wrong with me?
Did I stick my head in your box? I did stick my head in your box.
So that was a thing, because I had gone to that music festival that I built the other art for first. This was my 5th or 6th year there. So I know everyone there really well. It's very small.
Yes.
And so I applied for the grant program once it was there, and I got to bring much more expensive art. And for some of it, I had all of these leftover infinite color LED strings, and I was like, I have to do something with this. Now that I have this weird art kink for burns, I have to bring some weird stuff. And I was walking around my neighborhood, and someone had thrown away all these wire shelves, and I texted Yes Chef, and I was like, okay, floating LED cube. And she was like, can I put my head in it? And I was like, damn girl, you can now. LED mirror cube, LED infinity mirror cube. I'm in on Craigslist, and somebody gave away all their architecture modeling acrylic. So then I spent 2 months sanding it and trying to get all the gross labels off. My housemate is coming in with a beer every day, what the fuck is this? And I'm like, I don't know yet.
Right.
It's gonna be weird. There were no plans. It was all weird angles. And then I brought it here, and I was like, what do I do with it? My campmates were like, put it on some stools. Tell people to stick their heads into it.
People will.
And we
People
just
will
got a
stick it,
megaphone
yes.
and screamed, "Stick your head in our box." And,
Yes.
and people did it. They suffered. They were like, "Let me plant my ass on the ground and get underneath this stool and put my head in this box." And now it's sitting in my garage forever because what do I do with it?
That's the whole thing. So like now I have like this. I end up getting a storage space because I have so much camping gear and everything else. And I built a really, really small art piece, but for PDF 2 years ago, and it didn't really execute as well as I wanted. It's like a giant trash can thing.
Okay.
But we didn't end up burning it for whatever reason. Now I just have this thing.
wood.
Yeah. Now I just have this piece sitting here. I figure at some point it's going to come to me something else to do with it and make another art project out of it.
I'm sure you could modify it to be.
But it's just this thing that we accumulate these things, right? And so now I have all these materials for this glory hole, and it just sits there. And PDF a number of years ago, there was one of the furries. He did this telephone system.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've heard of that or remember it. So
Maybe.
I'm sorry, it was Constellation. He did a telephone system.
I still haven't been to Constellation, so that might be not somebody that I know.
So there were only a handful of camps, like 6 of us, that he gave this telephone setup to, where he had it wired throughout the playa, and we could actually call each other, and so we would prank call each other and everything else. And so he said, hang on to it because I'm going to, we'll put it up next time. So the next year he did actually, put it up the telephone system. We had it again the second year. Again, hang on to it. It's your camp telephone. He stopped doing it. I still have all of the telephones set up. So you just start accumulating these things and all of this stuff.
Do I want to bring this back?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe there's like a certain number of years, and then suddenly it will be a fresh thing again. You'd be like,
you never know.
Telephone.
And I'm like, hey, I still have my telephone set up. You told me to hang on to it. I still have it.
That's so good.
But it would not surprise me just how things run full circle. That Bernard, he moved to the West Coast. That at some point he may show back up again and
you got my telephone?
Right? Say, hey, it's the poles and the wires that go for our setup, and it's like, and he may decide, hey, I'm gonna do that again, and I'll message and say, I still have my stuff. So yes.
Oh, that's wonderful.
You're right.
And I don't know, something about being able to easily drive, easily, like in a day,
yes.
or like a day in a hotel and another day, drive to a burn makes it a lot. The dreams can be bigger without so much pain,
Yes.
I would love to one day collaborate on a piece in the desert and like work in a makerspace and stuff, but it's like getting to make little pieces over the course of, make more of them over a shorter period of time means that you can then spam your favorite event with lots of your art and force people to validate you. I don't know. It's a really special thing.
It is.
So,
it is.
I think we should probably wrap up because
Yes.
we need to go to Conclave soon.
Yes.
But is there anything that you'd like to leave on the feed for the audience or for, I don't know, yourself or for me or for anybody?
Last night when we were just doing a walk and I was with my 2 campmates, and I said out loud, I said, I wish we had this in our regular everyday lives. And they both just echoed that same sentiment. Like, yes, why can't people just be accepting and loving of each other? Why can't it be like this all the time? And I think that's what we struggle with when we go through decomp, but that's also what we do take, a little bit of this every time when we go back, when we leave an event like this. We are able to spread that. But that's probably the thing that always sticks with, like, this is more the default.
Mm-hmm.
And everyday life.
Everyday life is we are so programmed. I have to fit a certain role. I have to be behaving a certain way. I can't validate other people in a certain way because, it's threatening to me. What if they react in a weird way and I just want to compliment them? What if I just want to, support my community and I'm rejected for wanting to help? And it is fake in some way. Not always, but, it can be. And a structure where people are enamored with the fact that you're simply showing up, I think is so much healthier. Difficult to sustain, but not in little pockets, with breaks.
Yes. But it's what we discover about ourselves, about just the ingenuity. Well, I feel like we can solve any problem out here. Almost any problem,
so
something that comes up.
You have a problem, someone will be like, oh, I have a wrench.
Right.
Oh, I have this.
At PDF, my trailer fell off the blocks that I had it on when I was trying to hook it up. And I was like, oh crap, there's this 4,000-pound hunk of metal on the ground.
Oh.
I don't have a jack stand. What am I going to... Immediately a guy comes over, he says, oh, we just need 8 strong people. We've got this for you. It took no more than 10 minutes.
They lifted it?
Yes, it took no more than 10 minutes, and they had me hitched up to my truck like that. I was freaking out, thinking that this was an insurmountable problem. Within 10 minutes, they had it solved for me. Immediately fixed. Yes.
When I was on my way to Mosaic, and I was hopped up on Sudafed because I had a crazy ear infection, and I drove the entire 10 hours to Ohio in one day, and I was in the Best Buy parking lot looking at these like USB extensions for art, and I didn't realize I was in reverse, and I backed right into a Jeep. I backed across the parking lot. I looked up, and the Best Buy was 100 feet away, and I was like, what the fuck?
How did you do that?
Because I was tired and distracted and off discount meth. That's why.
Yes.
Legal, dangerous, over-the-counter Sudafed. And I was like, oh my God, my bumper's destroyed. And of course, the Jeep is completely not a scratch, spotless. And I was like, fuck Jeep. So I drove to Mosaic, and I was like, my car's broken, except it's, she's just ugly now. And people are like, oh, we can fix that. They come over with a thing of boiling water, and they're like, put your hand inside. And then the bumper pops out. All 100 people in the camps around have come out to watch, and they're all like, yes, you got it. You did it. You popped it out. And I was like...
The support that we get from this community, right? Yes.
It's indispensable.
It is.
It is essential and indispensable.
And I think, I started by saying that I was searching for a sense of identity, when I first went to my first burn in 2008. And I found that. I found more than that. I found myself, and I found another family. Yeah.
Okay, I want to end with one last thing, which is one of the first things I remember about you. We had known each other for like 2 days, and we went by the spank and massage tent, and I didn't want to get spanked because at that time I was not into impact play. And you came by, you were on a walk, and I think you had gone on that trail, and you and your camp, as usual, came by in your glorious group. And you were like, do you want to be spanked? And I was like, no, but can you verbally spank me? And you looked at me, and I was wearing a black wool tank top
that was tiny.
Hot and warm, hot.
And really you were looking hot and hot, but
I had a harness on top, and you looked at me. Do you remember what you said?
I do remember.
Let it loose.
It was something along the lines of like, "Does your little brother know you borrowed his shirt?" or something like that.
What's in back? And I gagged. I was like, who is this person? They're so cool and so mean.
And I'm not. I swear, but you asked for it.
I consented so hard.
Yes.
Well, I love you. Thank you.
I love you too. Thank you, Eli. Yes. Thank you for this moment.
Hey, Podkiller, what's up?
Nothing much. It's raining, so we've been schlepping around to all these different camps.
It's been a good schlep.
It's been a good schlep.
Shout out to Podkiller for putting this Zoom recorder, extremely expensive, in their endless, no depths to be found fanny pack.
Yep, her name is Mary, after Mary Poppins.
So, Podkiller, this is your second burn ever?
It is my second burn ever.
And where was your first burn?
My first burn was at Playa del Fuego.
And how few weeks ago was that?
That was about 6 weeks ago.
What was it like? How does this compare? What do you feel like? Stuff.
What was it like? It was really fun. I had a great time for my first burn, which somebody, not to name any names, has been trying to get me to go for, 4 years.
Gotcha.
But then, we had that whole, global pandemic, and then life and world events, so it took me that long to get there, but Porter Burn is smaller, but it's also very fun. It's also a little bit nicer when we're talking about elements.
Yeah, there's a lot more shade here.
Yeah, it's just one giant field, and the sun burning up during the day of PDF and freezing at night. Here we have a pond, which is nice, and I get to sleep in because the sun isn't burning a hole into my tent, so heck yeah.
Too true.
It's been very chill. I've been sober for most of this burn, which has been very nice, and I've just been taking care of my body and meeting new folks, and also seeing a lot of folks that I already have met or know.
Something that I've noticed is that I don't know about the southern East Coast burns at all. Like Transformers, West Virginia, as we may have already mentioned in this segment, is kind of like the southernmost of this sector. But I feel like all the people who go to Portal Burn also go to PDF, also go to Transformers, also occasionally go to Firefly Collective, which is up in Vermont. coming to any of them, but especially here, just feels like a family reunion because you just know everyone. You know, they'll be organized into different camps, and it's just really cool to be like, oh my God, it's you. Like, there's so much, oh my God, it's you. I'm so happy to see you all the time.
It's funny because the camp that we kind of co-founded and made for PDF,
Camp
we were like,
Dumpster Fire.
yes, sir. We were like, oh, we're not doing Portal Burn, but over half of our camp is here with a bunch of different camps, which is really funny.
We
And
just keep seeing them and be
lovely
like,
to see.
what are you doing here? Where are you camps? I thought we weren't coming to this.
Super fun. I love it.
It's great. What attracted you to the burner sphere? Why? What was... Did you feel prepared?
Well, I felt like I had already been here because you're such
Because I don't shut the fuck up.
Yeah, very that. As soon as you start talking about Burning Man, it's like eye roll, but like, okay, let me hear about it some more. Because we had all of these things going on and burns weren't happening for like a year and a half, 2 years. I love history, so I got to learn a lot about the history and watch a lot of documentaries and listen to a lot of podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt very well informed before I came. And I also love you so much and you're my best friend, so of course I want to experience things with you and things that you enjoy and make you happy and inspire you. So that's also why I wanted to do it, and I also trust you. So of course I know I'm going to have a good time if you say I'm going to have a good time. I've never met a person that you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I want you to meet insert name here because they're going to be so lovely and I know you're just going to get along famously. It's happened every single time. So
sweet.
Same thing with a burn. And that's kind of why I wanted to get into it. And also, I really like the idea of it, the principles, the community, the structure, and also the responsibility and accountability of everyone participating.
Do you want to talk about your like observations you've made as a person who's dealt with consent stuff in the past?
Oh yeah, so I used to do a lot of Title IX coordination and also was a crisis response personnel, if you will.
Personality.
Yeah. So it's very, not only interesting to see, but very nice to see everyone looking out for one another and volunteering their time to make sure that people are safe and also held responsible for, you know, their actions. And you know, the radical self-reliance comes into play with that, but also just taking care of the people in your camp and the people who are here experiencing this.
Yeah.
And it's something that I really would like to contribute to. But again, this is my second burn, so I've just kind of been taking everything in.
Yeah. Have you done a volunteer shift yet?
I have not, no.
Are you interested in one?
I am interested in one, which I know where to go to do that.
Yeah.
You know, you say you're going to do all these things, and then like...
And then it's like day 3 and you're like, I can't move.
Yeah. That's very it.
Has there been like something that surprised you or something that really moved you or you were like, man, that is so cool in your burn experience so far as a whole?
As a whole, yeah, actually, it happened yesterday. We went to Cosmic Lounge's variety show and Baby Shots did this lovely
It was
medley.
like 15 minutes long.
It was 15 minutes long, but it was a complete oral history of Burning Man and why we do this and what makes it special and the things we failed at and the things we fixed and how next year is always better because we keep growing, we keep contributing, we keep making it what we want it to be. And I thought it was really beautiful. I laughed, I cried, it gave me chills. And it was
she's
so
like
wonderful.
an auteur. She's incredible.
So incredible. And I think it's also a nice reminder of why you're coming here and doing all of these things. It's not just to see your pals and like hang out for 5 days and like you get to express yourself and experience things that you wouldn't commonly like be able to do in the outside world, in the quotation mark real world, that wouldn't always be so accepted or might be, you know, not someone's cup of tea. I think it's really nice to just be able to be completely your authentic self and, you know, have people who understand you for you. And also how we got here and how it happens and why it's been made the way that it is.
Yeah, you reminded me, we were talking about like authentic self and stuff, and so Portal Burn is unusual in terms, like I notice a lot more nudity here than I feel like a lot of other burns. I mean, also like the climate permits, there's a bit more variation, it doesn't get so cold at night. It's like 70s, 80s usually the whole time, no matter what. But also, we do have showers, but they are totally exposed. There's no walls, there's no ceiling, and it ends up being like a
really safe place to just be like, I was not a person who was ever naked in public, and then last year when I was here for the first time, I just took a shower with my campmates, and it was so non-threatening, and it was actually like a really big turning point for me in like feeling okay about self-expression and literally just my body.
No, I felt that too.
Yeah.
I mean, you have lived with me for a long time and also know me as a person and
True.
how I feel about, well, for the audience, they don't.
The audience.
About that, like, I don't want to get, I'm totally not fine with nudity, love that for everyone else. Not really my thing, and like, I get a lot of anxiety about it, but I think the showers was a great intro to that. And also PDF, the both burns that I went to had a lot of nudity.
Yeah, there's a lot of nudity at the
And
big
it
burn
really
too.
wasn't off-putting for me,
Yeah.
so I was like, that's awesome. I love that for everyone. And it's just like warming me up to be more accepting of myself and my body and like that part of self-expression. But it was also very lovely to just like shower with my campmates and it be very non-threatening and just hanging out and
Yeah.
very normal things. I think it's difficult when we live in a society that is constantly sexualizing everything and
Oh my God, yeah.
putting so much emphasis on what you look like and what you wear and like how you present your body that you're so hyperfixated on what it looks like and is it perfect or is perfect even real
People are
because
judging me
it's
on
an
my
idea.
outfit. People are judging me on my hairstyle. People are judging me on what shoes I'm wearing. Meanwhile, here and really like in most of Burn Space, it's just always like people are like, oh my God, like that's sick. And that could literally be the only thing you're wearing is a single sequin on your, like left cheekbone. And people are like, that looks so good on you.
Yeah, no, it's so true. It's like me breathing and our other campmate, Yes Chef, being like, oh my God, you look so hot and sexy right now. And it's like,
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
We have one other person waiting, so shall we wrap up?
Yeah.
Do you have any final comments?
I'm having a great time. This is something that I will be continuing to do for the future. I already have a ticket for another one.
Oh yeah, we have another burn that we're going to, which will be radically different in that no one besides our camp that we know will be there. It's in a different kind of like sector for burning in the U.S. It's in Ohio. It's called Mosaic Experiment, and it's smaller. It's probably about 300 people or maybe even 200 people, and it's on an old strip mine. So that last year for me, that was like a very kind of like new kid feeling, which was refreshing.
Different airs about it.
And it's
As I've heard.
cold. It's a cold burn.
Which
So
is
it may
exciting.
be cold and raining and like, thank God,
I'm
layers.
so sick of sweating.
True.
Why are cemeteries so noisy? It's because of all the coughing.
Wow.
What do you guys call a herd of sheep falling down a hill? A landslide.
Okay, here we are in the street with Martyn with a Y. Who are you? Why are you?
Who am I is a good question. Why am I is also a very good question. But where am I is a question I can answer.
Which is?
Which is at Portalburn currently. And I guess I am currently also on the board of directors for it, which is pretty cool.
Yes, that's wonderful. How long have you been burning for?
So that depends on what you define as burning, but I would say anywhere between like 5 and 10 years.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah.
How did it start?
So
how's it going also?
Yeah, how's it going? Going great, except for my lack of ability to speak. Yeah. But no, how did it start? So I was at 17 and also like random vocab like suggestion I'm trying to pick up, like singe. I don't remember who it was that I don't know if that was you that we were talking about, like singes with the idea of like just small events that like should be burns.
Singe.
Yeah, like a day-long event that's just a bunch of burns hanging out. That was
like a moment in time.
Yeah, I think that was Mego actually that we talked about.
Okay, so you're 17.
Yeah, so I'm 17, and I'm hanging out with a bunch of kids from Brooklyn, and one weekend they just told me, like, hey, there's this thing going on called Idiot Rod, and it's a shopping cart race, kind of a bar crawl through Brooklyn, where people get a shopping cart each, and then they decorate the shopping cart to a theme. They get together with a team of people and then all dressed up with that theme. It's kind of like a mobile theme camp.
Yeah.
And then run between bars, playing games and stuff, and just doing all that they can. And so
on shopping carts.
Yes, on shopping carts. So like first year, we were 17. We ended up like just running through with everyone. I don't know if I should be talking about this part because then like I guess we were underage technically.
Oh, it's fine. And what time of year is this?
This was in January. Yeah.
So you're freezing your ass off, running through the street.
Yes.
In a art shopping cart.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. That's a good idea.
Oh, it's a great idea. That was my first exposure to like the burner community. I think like a lot of us have seen the Malcolm in the Middle Burning Man episode.
A lot of us, not including me, but I've heard of it. I've heard of it.
That's how like I first found out about the events, but like that was my first exposure to the community completely unknowingly.
How accurate is that episode?
I haven't actually been to the Big Burn.
Oh,
yeah.
So who's to say?
Yeah, exactly.
I guess I'll need to watch myself.
It seems pretty accurate though from my experiences. Yeah, and it was kind of like that year. My friends and I just got like this like grandma shopping cart, like the ones on two wheels, and we like ran through it. But like there were so many other teams that had like one team had a full-on grand piano on wheels, and they were like a 1920s speakeasy, and like people would like play poker on the piano and stuff. It was all over the place. There was another team that was like a bunch of knights, and they had like a trebuchet. Yeah, there were all these different teams, and we actually won the disqualified award that year because we were all underage running in this race illegally.
Nice.
And also our like shopping cart didn't like meet the standards because it was just like one of those grandma carts, and also it fell apart because we made it out of paper mache.
Really?
And it was like
and wet New York January.
Yes, in wet New York January. We were very smart teenagers. Yeah, it was a great time, and I kept doing it every year, and I still do it every year. It's like one of the few events that I will like make sure to go out of my way to go to.
That's awesome.
Last year I went with one of the burner camp that I'm staying with now, a bunch of the people from it. And
what camp is that, can I ask?
That's Ginger Camp.
Shout out Ginger Camp.
Yeah, shout out Ginger Camp. Love you, Mego. Love you, House Cat. Love you, Crafty. Everyone else. I don't know. I'm just going to list all the names now. And we were the Cheese Wizards this year, where we all got a shopping cart. We turned it into like a mimic. So it was a giant block of cheese that opened and closed. Yes.
Cars have to be out of the field before we start burning, or you have to stay here.
Oh, P.S. It's Sunday. Temple burn is tonight, and then we will burn all the big art that we haven't burned yet, including a bunch of random scrap wood that people don't want to touch anymore.
Probably.
Yeah.
It's going to be a beautiful burn night.
It will.
But anyway, so this year, we had a shopping cart that was like a giant block of cheese that its mouth opened and closed, and we all dressed up in matching wizard robes with cheese hats, and we would walk around spraying people with Cheese Whiz. As like our sabotage, and that was like our team this year. My personal favorite moment was someone had Glinda the Good Bus, which is like a burner bus.
That like goes out to BRC.
Yeah, it goes out to Black Rock City, and it's like people living in a bus, and it's like all decked out. You can climb on the roof. Someone drove this bus behind all the shopping carts through the streets of Brooklyn. It must have been a massive... Can I say the word clusterfuck on the radio?
Of course you can say the word cluster. This is not the radio.
Great. Okay, perfect.
The only people who listen to this are us. So it's fine.
In terms of traffic, it must have been a massive clusterfuck. And like they were driving behind us, and we climbed up onto the roof, and like people were dancing behind these shopping carts, stopped in front of bars, and I like stood up there with a few of my teammates, and we just like started throwing cheese sticks to people on the sidewalk. People who are running in the race, plus also random strangers who are just like walking by trying to like go to the grocery store. And I was like, who wants a cheese stick? You look like you want a cheese stick. I'm just like throwing cheese sticks off a school bus that's painted pink in the middle of New York City.
I'm obsessed.
Yeah, it was a fantastic day. And that is Idiot Ride. It was a great time.
Were the people that you met there the people that you started burning with?
No. I mean, like a few of them, they really like got me into the community. Like there's this one guy, Jonah, who my first year, he was in a Pac-Man themed cart. I think he was like dressed like a banana or something.
Casual.
Yeah.
Totally normal.
And our like between the last checkpoint and the like after party place, you would have to get zip tied to another shopping cart that year. So we got zip tied together, and we ended up just like bonding. And so whenever I like moved somewhere, I would like message him being like, "Hey, Jonah, I'm trying to like meet burners in the community. Do you happen to know anyone in Philadelphia?" And he ended up like introducing me to a few of his friends, and they told me about like some burns around the area, and then I ended up going to that.
Hold on, we're pausing for Art's car, which is not an Art car. It just has Art the man in it.
Art the man.
And it's dragging cans as if he's just been married to...
He was just married.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Him
cool.
and Kelly just got married. This is their honeymoon. Yeah.
God, that's cute. Okay, so what was your first burn? Or where?
Technically PEX, and that was through just like found out through friends, went myself, went with like a friend of mine from a Jewish organization I was a part of.
Can you explain what PEX is in like 2 sentences?
Yeah, PEX technically is not a burn, but it's more of like a festival with a very burner vibe.
Right.
And it's not a burn because it has food trucks at it, but it's just like a massive group meeting of mostly burners with like music and art and a pool and an effigy and a temple, so it was a good time.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then fast forward to today, and you are on the Portal Burn Board of Directors.
Yes.
How's that going? What has it been like, and what do you do?
It's going really well. It definitely is a lot of work. I am the art liaison, fire liaison, and conclave liaison.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know you were all those.
I mean, like every board member gets like 2 or 3 departments that they're liaison for.
Oh.
Yeah.
How many Board of Director members are there?
I want to say 7.
Wow, that is not that many for an event that is very complex.
Yeah, but I mean, like, a lot of the work is also done by leads, too, during the event.
Right.
Yeah.
So the leads answer to the director.
Yeah, so basically, it's kind of like the liaison makes sure that the department has everything they need for the event, coordinates all of the leads, makes sure that, like, you know, they have everything they need, that they're doing, like, they're getting their volunteers signed up properly. I was the art liaison, so, like, I helped to, like, set up some of the art grants, like, forms and, like, the systems we have online for it. And then like coordinating like hiring people for the art grant committee, which decides who we are going to fund for their art, and then like just helping figure out logistical stuff for like the art leads, who are the ones who are like actually communicating to artists. And fire and conclave was just kind of like talking to the fire and conclave leads, making sure that they had whatever materials they needed, and making sure that we had like enough volunteer slots open for them, etc., whatever else. Yeah.
Wow. So, are you elected, or do you be like, hey, I'm interested in this position?
So I just kind of accidentally made friends with a bunch of people who were on the bod already, and they told me one day while I was visiting them for a Halloween party, like, hey, we have an opening on the bod. Do you want to apply? And then they interviewed a bunch of candidates, and they took the ones they felt were appropriate for the bod, and I was one of them. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And I definitely encourage anyone who's interested to apply for lead and bod roles, because it's super important to making this event happen. It is like a lot of work sometimes, and it's totally worth it.
Is there anything you want to leave people with? Any last things?
No, just you do you. You like don't doubt yourself and have a good old romperoo through the woods.
Oh, Martyn, that is very, very inspirational.
Yes,
thank you.
Romperoo.
I have those glasses. I just fucked them up.
Oh no.
Did you guys happen to hear about the 2 antennas that got married? The ceremony was kind of boring, but the reception was great.
Life is excellent. The tap water tastes like excrement. The skies rain poison. I gotta pay the rent.
Oh my god. Are you guys okay with me taking a photo in this very scenic lounge of all of us? Because I think it's just a very scenic.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm good with that. As long
You
as
can try, but I'm pretty sure I'm a vampire and I don't show up on.
That's fine.
Please send it to me.
Yes.
Verbal yes. Okay, so we're here in the, I don't know, unnamed mushroom lounge with some Alice in Wonderland inspiration with...
I'm Yash. Guess I'm on the board of directors. I do lots of things.
What's the thing that you feel like you do most for this event? What do you find yourself doing most while you're here?
While I'm here, I do a lot of drinking.
Okay, what do you do most in preparation or post-event?
I do a lot of the graphical things and computery things leading up to the event.
If I remember right, you are, I believe, in charge of ticketing?
I am in charge of ticketing.
Is that really difficult?
Incredibly difficult.
Okay. Has it gotten easier over the years or harder?
Harder.
So
Oh, God.
I have a question. Is it getting harder because of the actual, like,
ticketing, or because that you purposefully complicate ticketing for yourself? Wants to be leading.
This is not the roast of Yash.
Actually, I'm Yash's partner, so it is.
Understood. Okay, well.
No, let him answer the question.
Occasionally might throw ideas out there and be like, why did I suggest that? Now I have to do it. Mostly it's because people are illiterate, I've come to realize. And they don't read emails.
Yeah, burners.
I have another question. Yash, do you read all of the emails that you get?
Very true. No, but I have a secretary.
Wow, whoa.
No, I don't read shit for him.
I don't read shit for him.
I don't know if everybody here has tried to get a ticket from the Burning Man org, but it is very difficult and very selly, outy, not fair-ish vibes. Is this the first year that Portal Burn has sold out, like, instantly?
This is the first year that we've sold out pretty much instantly, yes.
And did that change the experience for you?
No, but I've been working towards making us sell out instantly for the past several years.
Whoa, okay. Yeah. What have you done to do that?
Bitch, you complain a lot in work.
Tell other people to show up. Tell us all to come back. And what benefit does selling out have for the event, would you say?
The benefits of selling out means that people want to volunteer more hours, so they'll get guaranteed tickets. So that way we get coverage on shifts that just gives people more reason to want to do shifts.
Yeah. I would love to ask you about the burn that you said that you helped to create, Cosmic.
Cosmic kind of sprung out of just a few burners wanting to do things during COVID, but that we're kind of hiding together.
Whoa. Okay. So we're going to need some context for Cosmic. And for that, I'm going to pull in Crackerjack.
Yeah, I'm Crackerjack, also known as CJ, also known as the Baroness.
Oh, my God.
You didn't know that I was known as the Baroness,
did
you? Yes, I'm a Baroness.
That's wonderful.
There is not a Baron because I like to just keep my options open, if you know what I mean.
Really fair.
And Crackerjack is one of the organizers of Cosmic Lounge, a big theme camp at Portal who provide a pretty killer event space.
Yeah, you want to know how Cosmic Lounge happened?
I would so love to know how Cosmic Lounge.
Okay, so what had happened was there was this, like, I don't know if you guys have heard about it, but there was a pandemic.
There was, yes.
Not the panini.
Wait, is Cosmic Lounge that new?
Yes.
Okay, I need to tell you, y'all seem like you've been around for 1 million years.
Okay, well,
I would have never believed.
Well, once you hear how this happened, you'll understand why that is. So there was a pandemic, and some of my friends were like, you know what, there's a pandemic, but we really need our community. Like, the idea that everything is shut down and that, like, we can't burn, that was just sort of not acceptable.
Yeah.
Right? It was in 2020, and they pulled together an invitation-only event. So they invited burners that they knew to come to. Obviously, it's not a burn because it was lacking radical inclusion, right?
Right.
It was invitation only. And it was seasoned burners, and it was like back before we had the vaccines and stuff, and you like had to test, and it was like, you know, make sure you test 2 days before you come, and make sure you test, and we're gonna shoot your forehead and check your temperature when you arrive and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
I think it might have been like 75 people-ish on a piece of property in Ithaca. People, you know, agreed that, like, if they wanted to wear a mask the whole time, they would, and other people were like, nah, I tested, I'm good, I'm comfortable. We had a freaking amazing time, and I was invited to that. I wasn't an organizer at that point. And then they decided they were going to do it again the same summer, like 6 weeks later or 4 weeks later or something. So there was 2 Cosmics events in 2020.
That's so good.
Yeah. And so when I got to the first one, I was like, this is amazing. And then I realized that they needed help because it was the people that were organizing it were all artists, and there wasn't any like real administrative skills in the group.
Yeah.
Or there was, but they just didn't have time to do the administrative stuff. So I was like, hey, if you guys need some help, I can help you. And so they were like, yeah, we'll take your help. So the second Cosmic, I was part of the organization team, and we had another event on the same piece of property, and people loved it. And then 2021 came around.
Hold on, pause for Art's car, which is not an art car, but just has art.
The Honeymooners.
The Honeymooners. Oh my God, they both have cans trailing from their...
Yeah, because they just got married.
So
Isn't it cute?
I love that.
I know, they're spending their honeymoon at Portal Burn doing DPW.
Okay, so there were 2 Cosmic Burns, which I assume that is the Cosmic that continues to exist.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
So there were 2 Cosmic, I'm saying burn, but with air quotes, right? Because they were invitation only. And then 2021 happened, and we decided to do another one. And we found a different piece of property in Ithaca that is absolutely lovely. And we scheduled 2 burns for 2021. And the first one was like, I think we did it Memorial Day weekend, and it rained and rained and rained, and it was cold and it was miserable. But the people that were there who were able to like survive it, they really bonded. It's like trauma bonding, right? Because everyone's tent is flooding and people are freezing.
Yes.
But we pulled it off. And then the second one in 2021 was when we decided we were going to apply for actual regional status. And by that point, we had vaccines and we had, things were opening up from the pandemic. And we were able to, do the whole radical inclusion and like sell tickets, and burns were coming back online, right?
Yeah.
And so we were like, all right, well, let's do this like legit, and let's actually open it up and do radical inclusion. And now we've got all the principles, and we can apply to Burning Man for status.
That's awesome. So have you applied already?
Yeah. So we were official. Our first official regional Burning Man sanctioned was the second event of 2021.
God, how cool is that?
And then we did 2022. We decided we're just going to do one event that year because now all the other burns have come back online, right? And, we've got people want to go to all the other things. Like in 2020 and 2021, we were kind of the only game in town.
Yeah.
Right? So by the later part of 2021, people were able to get back into their other established burns. But Cosmic kind of made a name for ourselves. We did it a little bit differently. We encouraged people to not bring theme camps.
Oh, okay.
So we did a very small burn. We're like hovering around, between 100, 150 people at most. But we set up a large center camp area, and we put a stage, and we put a sound system, and we put a bar, and we said, if you want to do events, do it at the center camp. You don't have to bring all your infrastructure. All these burner friends of ours who normally show up to these events and they put up these big theme camps, they were like, yeah, this is like a little vacation burn. Like, it's intimate. It's like a little burner family reunion. I get to see my friends. And if I want to do an event, I can do it at the center camp. I don't have to bring everything. Plus, it's so small. It's so tiny. Like, having theme camps, there weren't enough people at the event to really support a bunch of theme camps, right?
Yeah.
So when you only have 100 people, it's like, just have everybody come to the center camp. For whatever
that's so
is
awesome.
happening.
I want to go.
Yeah.
And so then did you decide to take all those people and form a theme camp at a larger event?
So from there, the core organizers of the event were kind of like, you know what? Like, we should take this thing that we just created. We should take this and take it to other burns. We should have the Cosmic Lounge theme camp.
Oh, that's
which was
so
born
good.
from the Cosmic event, the Cosmic Burn.
This makes a lot of sense, and I don't really know why I did not put 2 and 2 together on that. So
Yeah.
you're telling me that 2022 was the first year of Cosmic Lounge. Is that true?
We took it in 2021. We took it to Portal Burn at G Lodge, and we did our first Cosmic Lounge theme camp that was born from the Cosmic Lounge or from the Cosmic Burn event. And then we took Cosmic Lounge to Love Burn, and that was amazing. We also took we didn't take the whole lounge, but we took a small contingent of the organizers out to Lakes of Fire.
Oh, yeah?
So we were able to get it out there. And we took Cosmic Lounge back to Love Burn again this past year.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, we're here at Portal Burn again. And so, like, last year at Portal Burn, we had rented a tent. Like, that's the big thing, right? Is renting this big-ass tent, which creates a large space for us to have really cool events, right? And we rented a medium-sized tent, and then we had, like, carports attached to it and pop-ups attached to it and all that stuff. And we kind of looked at it. We looked at how many people, because people are, like, you know, banging down the door, can I camp with you? Can I camp with you? Can I camp with you? And we're like, okay. After last year at Portal, we were we probably had close to 60 people in the camp.
Yeah.
Which is a lot to manage for a regional event. And we decided this year we were going to cap at 35. Guess how many people we have?
How many?
50. So, you know, it happens.
Yeah,
so this year we upgraded to a 30 by 60. We rent the tent. So we take all the dues from our camp members and we rent the tent, which is huge because somebody else comes here, erects the tent.
Oh, shit.
We show up and decorate it. And then when we're done, we take all the decorations down and then they come and take the tent away. We don't have to store the tent. We don't have to put the tent up. We don't have to take the tent down.
Wow.
We don't have to transport the tent. Smarter, not harder. So, you know, it's like $800 for the tent, but, you know, when you think about the storage and the labor and the transportation and all of that stuff, it's just worth it. It's just worth it.
Well, it's an essential service. You do your famous variety show with no requirements for talent.
Yes.
There's variety.
Exactly. Do you guys know why skeletons are so calm? It's because nothing gets under their skin. Yeah, so I've actually been coming to Portal Burn since 2014, which was at Barton Pond. That was like one of the first kind of actual Portal Burns where they were selling tickets out and, you know, really being a burn. And so, yeah, I've been coming to Portal, and I was, you know, the help guide lead. I've been the art grant lead. I've been, like, very involved. I knew all the organizers, and it's kind of funny because I'm actually on the board this year. For years, people have thought I was on the board. They're like, oh, hey, Crackerjack, blah, 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 this, that, and the other. And I'm like, I'm not on the board. And they're like, you're not? I thought you were on the board. I'm like, nope, not on the board. So I've just been very involved, but never on the board until now.
I love that.
So, yeah. But, yeah, Crackerjack's Booty Camp was my camp before we started Cosmic. And just so you know, we started in 2014, and next year will be our 10-year anniversary of when it started, and we're going to do a reunion camp.
Oh, yes, please.
With all of the OG booty campers. No new campers allowed. If you hadn't... Yeah, so we're going to bring back booty camp for our 10-year anniversary. I'm going to, you know, just let Cosmic, the other Cosmic organizers run Cosmic. You know, there's a bunch of people that were original booty campers who have gone on to do bigger, better things, but we're all going to just kind of come back together and do a reunion next year at Portal. And we will bring back the pageant, which is a very popular event.
I'll be entering.
All right. We'll see what you got.
See how many smooches I can get on this patootie.
We'll see what you got.
So how has Portal Burn changed in the time that you've known it?
Well, obviously it's gotten a lot bigger. It's very interesting to me because of being with the Cosmic crew and starting the Cosmic Burn and now getting on the Portal Burn board and seeing all of the lessons that the Portal Burn organizers have learned over the last 10 years and like little weird organizational things and just record keeping stuff and all that administrative stuff that sounds really boring but makes a huge difference. And I'm looking at it and I'm going, okay, Cosmic is at the stage that Portal Burn was at 10 years ago. And I'm on the Portal board and I'm seeing them implementing all of these lessons that they've learned over the years. And I'm like, I don't need to wait 10 years to implement this stuff for the Cosmic board. Yeah. Right? Like, I don't have to learn it the hard way that these guys did for the last 10 years. I can just take all those lessons and implement them right now. Oh, that's which awesome. Is huge for me. I'm just like, I'm looking at all this little stuff and I'm like, ooh, yeah, I gotta do that for Cosmic too.
Is there like one thing that stands out that you think has been like a main lesson that you can implement?
So it's really boring stuff. Like I don't know if anybody cares about this.
Oh, like Google Forms?
Like it's super stupid boring stuff. Like, for example, you know, the board, there's a lot of people involved, right? And everybody's using Google and Google Forms. And you create your forms and you create your documents and you put it, and it's on your Google Drive, right? But there's a Portal Burn Google Drive.
Oh, that everyone can access.
That everyone can access. And so it's like, we all kind of need to go, okay, those documents that we're using to organize this event have to be owned by Portal Burn in the Portal Burn G Drive. You cannot let it be in your own drive. Right. Because then when you transition off the board, all that history is lost. And we can't get to those forms. And if you like made really cool stuff and it's gone now, or then we're calling you trying to like get access to it, let's just make sure everything is owned by the organization and not by the individual people that make up the organization. And that's kind of where that's like the biggest lesson that I'm taking and I'm implementing at Cosmic right now. Cosmic the event is like, we have to have everything owned by the Cosmic event drive.
Yeah, so then when it passes hand to hand, you don't lose it.
Exactly. Right? And I'm looking real seriously at how to, you know, come up with succession planning, because myself and the other Cosmic organizers, we've been doing this for a few years and we've got our hands in a lot of pots and we're very busy with a lot of stuff, and we want to see Cosmic continue, but we have to like find the next generation of leadership for it, right? We got to start grooming people to take this over from us, and we can't own it, right? We can't own the event, even though we started it and it's like deep down in our hearts and we love it and we feel a lot of ownership over it. Yeah. We need to make sure that we're prepared to release it to the community and let the community own it.
Oh, that is so burned.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
listen, sick. It is fucking hard. It's like, I'm getting teary-eyed just talking about it. It is hard. It's like, you know, parents that have to send their babies out into the world and go, be an adult now. You know, that's kind of what it feels like.
Wow, that's really lovely.
Yeah.
I didn't know any of that about Cosmic Lounge, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. Something else just came into my head that I do want to talk about.
Of course.
And that is the idea of the decompression.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've ever experienced it where you leave a burn and you go back to the default world and you're suddenly like really upset and you're depressed and you're just like, why can't the rest of the world be like it was at the burn? And you're like, you know, you walk into the convenience store and the cashier is not willing to hug you. Yeah, they're just not going to do it.
Yeah.
You know? And it's tough and it hits you hard. And I remember early in my burn career experiencing that pain of the decompression, that anxiety and that low that comes, right? It's like that crash after the high of the burn.
Yeah.
And I don't get that anymore. I do not get that anymore. And you know why I don't get that anymore?
Why?
Because I have turned my entire life into a burn. So when I leave here, I hang out with burners. I preach the gospel of Burning Man to everybody who wants to listen. I live my life on my own terms. I don't give any fucks.
Yes.
I fucking wear my burner outfits to go grocery shopping. And I just like walk around and I'm like, yeah, this is me and this is what's up. And I've just kind of incorporated Burning Man into my everyday living. It's not a siloed thing. It's not like I'm here, this is my burn persona, and then I have to go back to my default world. It's all the same. It's all the same people. It's all the same vibe. And not to say that I don't, like, obviously I have a job, right? Like, and my coworkers aren't all burners, but they all know that I go to Burning Man, and a lot of them are like, I'm living vicariously through you. And they appreciate it. And, I have actually recruited a few people, but not everybody is ready. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people out there that just, they're not ready for this. But yeah, I figured out how to combat the decompression crash by integrating the lessons of Burning Man into my everyday life. And so it's no longer a jolt to my system to leave here, because I've cultivated a family that gets it, and they are there for me after I leave this place. And I no longer have that jolt that I had the first couple times that I burned.
It's a world of difference.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Really
you're
appreciate
welcome. I loved this. This was great.
Isn't this a cool project?
This is the coolest project ever.
I'm fucking digging it. Okay, thank you.
Is that yours? I'll take it.
Last night I dreamt I was drowning in an ocean made out of orange soda. It took me a while to work out it was just a fantasy.
All right, last but certainly not least, we have Top Shelf.
Top Shelf, what's up?
How you doing?
Pretty good. I'm kind of tired, but things are fine. I wanted to ask you if you had any moments that stuck out from your burner history that you wanted to share.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm a pretty body conscious person, and burns have kind of changed my perspective and my way of facing that, and that it's such a non-judgmental place to be, and such a positive place where I can feel free to walk around naked. And the first time that I naked burned was at Cosmic Burn in upstate New York, and it was the day after a pretty big awakening for me, like a night. So I had eaten some mushrooms and was working through a lot of things, and I kind of talked myself in circles for a few hours. And the next day I was sitting by the lake journaling, and a couple other burners were jumping into the lake naked, and I saw them and went, okay, today's the day, like, I'm gonna do it. And the voice in the back of my head was like, no, don't do it, you're gross, this, that, the other. And I kind of challenged that and just took my clothes off and jumped into the pond. And when I got out of the pond, there was that challenge to, like, okay, you can put your clothes back on and continue about your day, or try to, like, challenge yourself to stay out of your head and do the things. So I just stuffed my clothes back in my bag and walked around Playa and met myself there.
I always know that I can count on you running around the fire after an art burn in your barest, truest self, just like dancing. And you always seem, you're never focused on anyone but like yourself and the fire, and it's a really beautiful thing to behold. And I hope that's cool that I'm always like, there they go.
Yeah, the fire is a big reason why I burn. Like, the effigy is my spiritual apex of my burn. And at that particular burn, I burned around effigy naked for the first time, and now I won't wear clothes around effigy ever again. And there was just something magical about, like, kind of just stomping out everything that I needed to release
Yeah, there's a lot to let go of that burn. So it's transformative for sure.
Our favorite word.
Coincidental, perhaps, that is your story because you just asked me to write in your book. And not in as much detail because I write too big, but I said my favorite moment from my first burn, which was 2 months ago at PDF, was after effigy burn, seeing you just look ethereal and so happy and just so warm, embracing your friends and running around the fire naked because, like, that's something that I've struggled with. Space Burrito knows, like, my body consciousness. I was like, I don't know if I'll ever get naked, but it was just so inspiring to see you. And also, like, because you were a part of my camp, I saw you like that all weekend. I was like, Bex is just living the dream, their moment, and it really inspired me, and it was my favorite moment from my first burn.
Thank you.
That made me be like, this is why I love this.
Yes.
So,
thank you.
Thank you for impacting me.
Well, thank you for sharing with us.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for giving me a space to share.
Always. Love you.
Love you.
Life is excellent. The tap water tastes like excrement. The sky's rain poison, but I gotta pay the rent.
Man, it's so great when we get collaboration from talented individuals. Thank you so much, Space Burrito, for all of these stories.
And thank you to Miles and Rose and Podkiller and Jamilah and Martyn and Onyash and Crackerjack the Baroness and Yash and Top Shelf and whoever else I did not mention. I'm sorry. My ears aren't great. I hope you enjoyed this podcast.
Friends and listeners, you may have noted this season that we've been getting stories contributed by folks that are not us, gathered from folks that are not them. Please consider this your invitation to get the stories from your regional or your local meetup. You don't need fancy recording equipment. Every one of you has a very fancy computer in your pocket that has a pretty decent microphone if you put it up in a quiet place.
Holy shit, yes. Like, it's way more fun if you want to go record your shit with your people.
It'll be a lot more useful than you trying to get us to go to your regional. Not that I don't want to go to your regional, but, you know, it's easier to bring your regional to us.
It's expensive to travel and, like...
hard to coordinate schedules.
Yeah.
Unless you have financial largesse, in which case there is a way for you to direct deposit millions of dollars into our bank accounts, at least according to the White Lotus.
If any of you want to finance the three of us coming to your regional, we are more than welcome. Like, we are
more than welcome for you to do that for us. Thank you. You're welcome.
Yes.
And if you would like to make an untraceable donation, our Bitcoin wallet is... I make my own beeps.
So I've got to say, Portal Burn sounds great, especially because it is from an adjacent culture to where I grew up. Like, I'm sure there's a lot of country shenanigans happening in Portal Burn because it's only 100 or so miles away from my hometown, which also means they do have ticks. A lot of ticks out there.
Damn.
At Portal Burn.
Ticks are terrifying.
Ticks are terrifying. Maybe, can't guarantee, but maybe some leeches in their humongous pond, which obviously the two of you know this, having recently listened to all of these interviews and heard the episode.
Oh, obviously.
But it's so cool that Portal Burn has a humongous ramped slip and slide going into their pond.
I mean, this ramped slip and slide part sounds fun.
Uh-huh.
Ponds, though.
Yeah, ponds are usually pretty gross. Even if there's only a couple thousand people going to Portal Burn, that's a couple thousand people peeing in a pond.
How much DEET do you have to put on to not get ticks?
You just get ticks.
Oh my God. I don't think I've ever said this on the podcast before, but at one point my partner John and I went hiking in the California wilderness, and we sat down and had lunch, and then when we got back to the house, he was in the shower and he made a sound I had never heard out of him before. It was like, and he's like, is this moving? And I looked at him like, oh my God, that is a fucking tick just like half buried in your skin. It's so fucking gross.
Ticks are very upsetting.
They're really upsetting.
They're no leeches, but they're not great. But on the other hand, leeches don't give you Lyme disease.
Leeches don't get inside you. And they don't give you Lyme disease.
For yourself.
Like, this tick is like halfway in his skin. Yeah. And it's before he could get Lyme disease, because if you get them under 24 hours back before they like barf their disgusting organs inside of you and then suck out a meal,
a blood
off
meal.
of you.
Hashtag only some ticks, probably not those ticks.
But that's when you would get Lyme disease. So if you can find the ticks and remove them before about 24 hours, it's just incredibly painful, which is wild because you don't feel them at all when they get inside you.
And the okay thing about where we live is we're north of the Lone Star tick line. So you might get Lyme disease, but you won't lose your ability to have a hamburger.
If I was going to pick, I'd pick that one.
I know.
Lyme disease is like tough forever.
Wave your vegetarian privilege in my face.
Stop eating red meat as opposed to being constantly your entire white blood cell system attacking your own body.
Some of us need burger.
Yeah, and I don't discriminate against people with lupus, Beth.
I don't discriminate against them.
Accuracy Third is produced
Just don't
by
wear their
Accuracy
shoes.
Third. Beth is fine.
You
She
can't wear
sounds
their
like a
shoes if
terrible
they have
person, but
lupus.
she's not.
No, God damn it. If your friend has lupus, they should already let you know that you shouldn't wear their shoes.
We could not do this project without the generosity of our patrons on Patreon. If you or someone you know needs a Burning Man name, give us $5, reach out to us, and we will give you a Burning Man name. We have some requirements, but you'll find out about them once you reach out to us. If you reach out to us at accuracy3rd@gmail.com, why you could be on this podcast with at least 2 out of the 3 of us.
Yeah, you can tell your stories of Burning Man or the regionals that you've gone to. You can tell your stories here in our shedio in sunny Oakland, California, or you can call us over the interwebs. That works too.
It's really fun to have you in person.
It is.
So if you're like one of those people who occasionally comes to the Bay Area for other reasons, that is the time. Please let us meet you in person. But also, we understand times are hard and you might not want to come to this country. So we do have a good setup for phone call interviews.
If you're not already stuck here, you can give us a call on the internet. The music in this episode is Life is Excellent by Bobby Joe Ebola and the Children McNuggets.
Life is excellent.
New album out now.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's on the YouTube and at BobbyJoeEbola.com.
We have a party on Playa. Come say hi to us. It means a lot to us.
It'll be Wednesday.
It'll be Wednesday at 2. We will let you know the location later. Although I'm still really rooting for Lamplighters because, man, it's so easy with Fender Bender and Punisher helping us out.
It's too easy then. It's like giving up. It's like the slow kiss of death, Beth.
Damn.
This party needs to be hard.
So do you want our party to be hard? Do you want to invite us to your camp? Because we love hard things. We love it. It's fun. Invite us to your camp. It'll be weird. Sometimes D-Day will be in a cage for a while.
Man, I forgot about that. I was so fucking drunk that day. That was one of the early ones.
Yeah.
That was hard.
So there's this thing where I like when our listener appreciation parties aren't that hard. But you know what?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a wimp. I can go out and have a party at another location.
Greeters, would you like to host our party? We'll do it at Greeters.
I really like rotating our party venue.
Yes, I do too. I'm sorry for being lazy and being like, it's so easy because our friends just throw it at their bar.
We could do it at Commissary if you guys won't let us do it at DPW.
Let us know if you would like to host our party at Wednesday at 2 p.m. We will show up with a bunch of liquor and none mixers.
Does that sound good, Jub? If so, reach out. Let us do our party at Jub.
There might be a mixer. I might bring like
One of those frozen cardboard cans of lemonade?
No, bottle of bitters.
Now we have stage dive, and I'm not saying you're required stage dive to do this, but I appreciate you so much.
Maybe she'll do it if you edit her episode.
Oh shit! God damn it! Yes, I'm sorry. It's been
Stage dive. Would you like to be bribed into bringing us mixers for our party? Because I will get on Beth slightly more than I just did right now to get her to finish editing your episode, but she has not started editing yet.
The files are on my computer. Like I took them off of the.
Are they in the template?
No.
Doesn't count. If you would like to have pithy banter with us like this, you can join us on our Discord. The link is in the show notes, and we have a beautiful, burgeoning 160 plus person community thriving.
Yeah, people keep joining. It's kind of cool.
It's great.
Yeah.
We're making new friends. We're talking about stuff, creating new channels all the time. Now we have an art and design channel.
Don't worry.
We've got an Ask Accuracy Third Anything channel. We've got an Either Or channel. And at some point, we're going to use that stuff to make a burn barrel in this studio for you guys to listen to before Burning Man.
Reddit getting you down? Join a lovely, kind, and nice community that only occasionally shows their buttholes to each other on our Discord.
Did we have butthole photos I missed?
No, but I feel like I want to encourage it.
Oh, thank you. Because I always want to be leading into that, but I fear it makes me sound like a creep.
No.
Show us your butts.
If you would like to.
If you would like to.
All right, we'll make a channel.
Yeah, butts channel. Hands down. BurnerNarc.com.
Life is excellent. The tap water tastes like excrement. The skies rain poison, but I gotta pay the rent. Tap water tastes like excrement. The sky is rain.
and then don't want.
That was really fun.
Anyway, Mushroom Lounge, interviewing Yash. 10 people really wanted to sit in on the interview, and they all promised to be quiet. They were not very good at that.
It's actually the roast of
We're
Yash
not
right
roasting
now.
poor Yash. We're changing direction. Yash, how long have you been a burner, and do you have any stories to tell us from your illustrious career?
I've been a burner.
Yeah.
We can I
shallow
started
that question
burning
out.
when I was 13, I think. Not burning. I started going to burner adjacent events when I was like 13. When I moved to Vegas and Nevada, my best friend's parents were burners. He was like the first friend I met when I moved out there, and so I started to go to like burner adjacent things with him when I was like 13, 14 years old.
So was the Big Burn the first like large event burning wise that you went to?
Burning Man was the first burn I attended. I was going to like decompressions and equinoxes and things before I had gone to Burning Man.
Do you remember what year your first burn was?
2003, I believe. I think one of my standout funny moments I had when I was younger, one of the earlier burns I went to when I was only 18 or 19, I don't know how old I was. And it was my first experience with somebody around, I wasn't in one of the orgy domes, but somebody had come and was looking for Orgy Dome, coming from another orgy place. And I was a bit naive at this time. And this person came out very sweaty of one place and came up to me and she's like, "Can you tell me where the other Orgy Dome is, please?" And I was like very shocked by it in the beginning. And I was like, "I don't know, please don't." It was very shocking. So that was like one of the most memorable burning moments I had from my younger days of burning.
Amazing.
Well, I didn't really...
Just a moment of shock and terror.
Fully, like I knew that things happened, but I mean the sweat coming off this person looked like they had come from a sauna.
They had.
And it was a very vivid memory in my mind for my innocent young eyes.
The last thing I want to ask you about, because I haven't gotten anybody to talk about it yet, did you help to build the slip and slide at Portal Burn this year?
I sort of helped build the slip and slide. I think it took Shaq about a week to build.
That's really impressive. It's gigantic. It's like 200 feet long.
Yeah, I mean, it took, I think, 3 or 4, 5, 8-hour days of kind of working on it. I kind of showed up in the end because he was having a hard time getting the water up the hill to put it in it. I was like, you should put water into buckets and let the buckets fill up and drill holes so that way it fills and then you have a constant stream of water. That's why those buckets are...
That's really smart. They were able to build it in advance of this event. They didn't build it like during load-in for all the other camps and all the other
No, Chuck's been working on it at home and here. You know, he's come out last weekend and a couple of weekends before to start building it. So it's a couple of week build. It'll probably never be here again because it was such a huge project. But
no, it was so good. We went down it like 10 times today. Linz went down it playing the trombone.
Yes. So in the beginning, on the testing phases, the ramp was probably about 3 feet higher.
Oh. And the ramp is already probably like 6 feet off the water.
Yeah, so instead of it launching you out, it launched you straight the fuck up.
The angle was higher.
Yeah. So you kind of came up and then came right back down on the ramp.
That's not good.
If you want to know why Shaq's foot's probably broken.
So, I mean, that's a really brave art thing to do, is to test your own art.
Well, I mean, not too brave, because he made me and several other people test it a few times before he did. And then we're like, yeah, it's probably all right.
What were your thoughts as you flew straight up into the air coming down towards the ramp?
Classic burner line. It's safer than some things and not as safe as others.
Well, thank you for your contributions. That made this event absolutely psycho, and I really liked it. Do you want to leave us with anything as a final, that's it?
I don't know. Hope everybody enjoys burning, keeps burning. Like that everybody helps and that burner culture keeps going. And it's my life. I've joined the cult. Been in it a while. It's all I do. I live from burn to burn, and between burns I plan burns, so...
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Round of applause for Yash.
Yeah.